Hello and welcome back to Football Index Moneyball. The market seems to have picked up again over the last 2 weeks, so seeing as I have a lot of time on my hands, similar to the rest of you I'm sure, I thought I should start the videos back up. I'm going to also start covering some cheaper players than I usually would, as I think with the lack of fixtures and the lack of liquidity in the market, the reactions are going to be a lot smaller than usual, so this is a good opportunity for me to put out some info on the kind of players I look for in the sub 70p brackets. But for today's video, I've gone for more of a premium pick. This player has a lot of potential for future PB, and there's been rumours to a move to the Premier League already. So after a slow first season in the club, these are looking a little bit more likely. And there's also a chance of some media there if that comes off. Before we get going, if you haven't already, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. If you want to follow me on Twitter, then you can search for @IndexMoneyball. And there are referral links in the description if you want to sign up to Football Index, Football Index Edge and Football Index Club. There's also a link to my Patreon page where you can help support the channel, which gives access to some bonus picks, portfolio reviews and other added benefits. So for today's pick, I've gone for Hirving Lozano at Napoli. Lozano's a 24-year-old winger from Mexico, and he's a player that a lot of you might know already. After moving to Napoli last summer, Lozano's not had a really good season for his first year in Italy. But prior to that, he starred in his last 2 seasons at PSV and at the World Cup for Mexico in 2018. Looking at his 12-month graph, you can see the effect this has had on his price, where he's currently 6p above his 12-month low and 46p down from his peak price of £1.80 back in April 2019. A return to peak would equate to a 34% return, but bearing in mind all the growth in the market in the last year, I would think that if his hype returned, either through transfer speculation or an anticipation of a better second season with Napoli, then he could easily exceed that. As far as transfer speculation goes, the major links have been coming from Ancelotti being at Everton. Ancelotti brought Lozano to Napoli less than 12 months ago, and is rumoured to be keen on linking up with him again. Normally you wouldn't expect that a player who's just signed for a club would be available, but after a slow first season there could be potential for this to happen, which would be great for his price. On top of that, if the move doesn't come off, it wouldn't be so bad as long as there was continued speculation. You could potentially pick up some media dividends, and the links would likely drive his price up regardless. Taking a look at Lozano's transfer market, he's already picked up a few trophies from his time with PSG and also with Pachuca in Mexico, where he won the CONCACAF Champions League as the top scorer in 2017 before getting his move to PSV. He also has 39 caps, 10 goals and 7 assists in Mexico. For his career stats, he's played 242 games with 84 goals and 53 assists, which equates to a combined rate of 0.67 per 90 with a good skew towards goals. Positionally, he's been a pretty versatile player with appearances all across the front 5, with the majority of his appearances coming on the wings. This would be an advantage for his chances of getting game time if he stays with Napoli next season, with him currently on track for a Europa League place. This could arguably be a benefit over them making the Champions League, as there's more games in the Europa League and the opposition is much weaker, so the chances of him getting a few starts and building his confidence will be good. In this table I've compiled all of Lozano's stats from the last few years, including his World Cup qualifying and finals games. The first thing that I wanted to point out is that when you look at his goals and assists per 90 of 0.6 and 0.2, this actually equates to 0.8 per 90 overall, which is higher than his career average of 0.67. This is a good sign that Lozano is continuing to develop as a footballer, and the skew for goals is also more promising than his career stats as well. On top of this, Lozano has some great figures for his key stats, all highlighted in bold there, with 2.3 key passes, 1.2 shots on target, and 2.2 successful dribbles per 90. This is very promising in combination with his goal contributions for him to be able to take down PB at some point once he manages to solidify a place in a first team somewhere. The downside here would be his average passes with only 23, but I think these other numbers make up for this. For my profit target analysis, I used a bit of a combination of analysis methods with 2 comparative purchase options and also an additional scenario for dividends, as I do think that Lozano falls somewhere in the middle of a PVMB premium purchase and an undervalued cap app purchase. My target time frame for this one is 6 months, which would take us a couple of months into the new season, assuming they manage to start on time. More than likely, there's going to be a delay though, so this gives us a couple of months buffer in case of that. Over this time frame, we'll need to see a 42% return to be on track for the 100% annual profit that I usually look for. For my comparable purchase options, I went for Piatek at Hertha Berlin and Hwang Hee-chan at Salzburg. I quite like these comparisons because although Chan has a slightly better career goals and assist record, The fact that it's come in the Austrian league means you can factor it down a bit, and it would be fair to say that Lozano's got close to or the best goal contribution record. On top of that, he has major advantages over those two players, considering the very similar price. For Piatek, he's just made his move to Berlin, so it's very unlikely that he's going to be linked with any transfers this summer, so Lozano's Everton links are a big factor there. Then for Chan, although he is likely to have some speculation, he's not currently playing in a PB league, so he presents more of a risk against Lozano. Bearing these factors in mind, I think that the choice was a pretty straightforward one, and this also says a lot about the potential value in Lozano's current price for me. For my low target, I went for Saeed Benrahma at Brentford. I think this is a very similar comparison to Chan really, as Benrahma's not in a P League currently, so he's relying on promotion or a transfer in order to get there. He's also non-European and has the exact same goal contribution record of 0.67 per 90 as Lozano. So comparing these two players becomes very easy, and for me, Lozano is the far better option. This price is where I would expect to see Lozano at now really, but I think his lack of game time has caused him to fall off the radar for a lot of people and for holders to lose patience. For my mid target, I went for Asensio at Real Madrid. This is a little bit of a more difficult comparison due to the fact that Asensio's at a massive club and he's Spanish with a number of caps under his belt, so it could benefit from next summer's Euros. But competition for him to play at both Madrid and Spain is going to be very tough next season, and he's coming back from a major injury, so these are two drawbacks for him. His goal contribution is lower than Lozano's at 0.59 per 90, so for me, I don't really see much justification for the higher price here. There could potentially be links to a transfer to the Prem this summer, but following his injury and the fact that he's got 3 years left on his contract, I'm not really sure how likely these would be. So the fact there's strong links for Lozano again works in his favour. For my high target, I went for Anthony Martial at United. And for this one, I just went for the cheapest of the expensive players in the 24-year-old forward category. I don't usually like to use United players as targets, as they tend to benefit from a premium on their price due to the increased media chances. But this is actually a situation where I think Martial's underpriced, and I want him to be conservative rather than using players like Nicolas Pepe, Adama Traore or Serge Gnabry, who are all higher priced. For Lozano to hit this price, I think he would need to either get a move to Everton, pick up 2 or 3 media wins in quick succession from the speculation, or regain some of the form he showed at PSV at the start of next season for Napoli. So although this is a bit of an ask, all 3 of these situations have a decent probability of coming off. As I mentioned earlier, I also included a second analysis for Lozano based on his dividend potential. For this I gave him 6p in media and 8p in PB from either a Silver Day star man or a Gold Day top forward. If he managed to hit those figures, then that would be when I would be looking towards Martial's price as being realistic over the next 6 months. So that leaves us with profit target range of 24% for the low through to 86% for the high target with the dividends added in. I think the margin for safety is a strong factor in this pick. There just seems to be a lot of ways that you could see Lozano's price rising in the next 6 months, in combination with clearly inferior comparable purchase options, and a low target who is a marker for where Lozano could get to tomorrow if speculation were to begin for an Everton move. So that's all I have for you today. Again, if you're interested in signing up for some premium memberships to improve your trading, then there's links for Football Index Club, Football Index Edge, and for my Patreon page in the description. Thanks for watching and good luck on the index.